Okay, so let's start by offering our respects to Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram.
Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.
Jai.
Okay. So welcome all of you. We have Munesh Prabhu, we have Varsha, Disha, our official notes maker. We have Gayatri Mataji, we have Jyoti Mataji, Karuna, Naveen Prabhu, Mercedes Enriquez, Auntie Payal, Ritu, Saket, Suthasini, and Tejal Shah. Oh, we have Dinesh Rao Prabhu and we have Usha Mehta. So welcome all of you to our weekly sessions. Thank you for joining. Does anybody have a question from a previous class?
Yes, Mataji, I have a question.
Yes.
Yes, Mataji. In Kali Yuga, why the 6 kinds of aggressors are not applicable?
Yeah, because see, every yuga has its set of rules and regulations. And in Kali Yuga, because most of the people are in the mode of ignorance, there is every possibility that people are going to misunderstand or misjudge the situation. We don't have the kind of intelligence that the people in the previous yugas had. We already discussed how people in Kali Yuga are less intelligent. So there are many things that we misunderstand. We don't understand the Shastras correctly. So we have every probability that we will take a wrong decision. That's why in Kali Yuga, any kind of killing is completely prohibited. But of course, the law of karma works. If there is an aggressor who's done wrong to us or to anybody, the law of karma will automatically do justice, will take its course. They cannot escape the karma unless they surrender to the Lord. Okay?
Yes, Mataji. The one more question is why Arjuna is mentioning different names of Krishna. That means that Arjuna already know that Krishna is a supreme personality, a Godhead, before Krishna revealing his original self or original form to Arjuna.
Yes, Arjuna is already a pure devotee. He is already self-realized. He knows what is right and what is wrong, but he is put under ignorance by Krishna so that he can speak the Bhagavad-Gita for the benefit of all of us. If it is like an act that was put on. Yes, Arjuna is a pure devotee. He already knows what is right and what is wrong. It's not that he is ignorant, but he is acting. Krishna has put him under ignorance. He has put him in that situation purposely so that he can speak the Bhagavad Gita, and that's how we can benefit from it. Okay?
Yes, Mataji, thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else has any question? Okay, so let's start with today's session. What did we see in the previous class? How did chapter 1 end? What was the last verse we saw? Has Krishna started speaking the Gita knowledge yet? In chapter 1, has Krishna
No,
spoken?
Mataji.
Sorry? Krishna has not yet started speaking the knowledge of the Bhagavad-Gita yet, right? We only saw how Arjuna has given reasons why he does not want to fight the war. We saw 4 reasons. We saw all the 5 reasons in the previous chapter, but the 5th reason we will be discussing now in chapter 2. We mentioned it in the previous class for the sake of continuity, but in first chapter, he has given 4 reasons why he does not want to fight the war. So today we will see Arjuna's further doubts and eventually how he surrenders to Krishna. Okay, so we begin chapter 2 today. So chapter 2 is titled Contents of the Gita Summarized. It is a summary of the Bhagavad Gita. All that we find in the Gita, it's there in chapter 2. And after chapter 2, the same contents are mentioned in great detail. So you can say it's like an index. Okay, it's a summary in chapter 2, and later throughout the Gita, those same concepts will be discussed in great detail. This is the second longest chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. It has 72 verses. The longest chapter of the Gita is the last chapter. The 18th chapter is the longest, and chapter 2 is the second longest chapter. So this is going to take at least, I think, 5 sessions to complete. Okay, but before we go to chapter 2, we have to discuss a story. So the story goes that once there was a person, a Brahman by the name Devashyama in a place called Pandarpur. Pandarpur, it's even there today in Maharashtra, isn't it? So this Brahman stayed in Pandarpur and he did all kinds of yagyas, and he knew the importance of receiving guests in his house and serving them nicely. So all his life, he used to receive guests in his house. He used to serve them. And that way he was able to even please the demigods. The demigods were very pleased because he's doing yagyas very nicely and he's also serving the guests very nicely. But in his mind and in his heart, he was not feeling satisfaction. He always had the desire to obtain the knowledge of the relationship between the Atma and the Paramatma, the individual living entity and the Lord. He wanted to know the relationship between the two. And because he wanted to receive this knowledge, he met many yogis and tapasvis, and he would invite them to his house, and he would serve them, and then he would inquire from them. He would ask questions and he would inquire from them. So like this, he spent many years of his life. Then one day when he was walking, he comes across a yogi who was sitting in deep meditation, and he appeared to be very, very peaceful. And it appeared to him that this yogi has no material desires. So he felt very attracted towards this yogi, and he approached him and he asked him some questions. He asked him, how can I attain peace of mind? Because he saw that this yogi is very peaceful. So he asked him, how can I attain this peace of mind? The yogi told him that I advise that you go to a village called Sopur, and there you meet a person called Mitravan. Now, this Mitravan, by profession, he is a goat herder. He herds the goats, but he is a fully self-realized person. So you approach him and you take instructions from him. You can ask him your questions. So Devashyama goes to this village called Sopur and he meets Mitravan, and he sees Mitravan in a forest. He's sitting on some rocks on the banks of a river, and he sees that the whole atmosphere appears very peaceful, and even Mitravan is very peaceful. And there he sees Mitravan with his goats, and some of these goats are sitting next to tigers and other ferocious animals. But although they are sitting next to these ferocious tigers, even the goats are very, very peaceful. They are not scared of sitting next to these tigers. So then Mitravan is sitting there, and Devashyama goes to Mitravan and he inquires from him. He says that, please tell me how I can attain devotion to Lord Krishna. How can I attain peace? How can I attain devotion? So now Mitravan starts to narrate a story. Now, what is it that Mitravan is narrating? He is saying that long ago, I came to this forest with my goats to herd them, and suddenly a tiger appeared. When this tiger appeared, all my goats, they started running here and there out of fear of this tiger, and I also started running away. And then as I was running, I turned back to see, and he saw that the tiger had caught one of his goats, and he thought that now he is going to eat my goat. But suddenly he saw that the tiger left the goat, and the goat asked the tiger, how come you have left me? I am your food. I was right there. You caught me also. But how come you left me? Why did you not eat me? So the tiger says that, I don't know myself, but suddenly as I came to this place, suddenly I am not feeling any hunger or thirst. And I'm feeling very, very peaceful. I'm feeling very satisfied. So now the goat and the tiger and Mitravan, all three of them are wondering, how come this has happened? What is the reason that suddenly now the tiger is feeling peaceful? And the goat also says that my fear has gone. I'm not feeling fear anymore. So they want to know the answer to this question as to how come this has happened. So then there is a monkey sitting on the branch of a tree over there. And the monkey starts to speak. And now the monkey is going to narrate a story. So the monkey is saying that this is actually a very, very old story. In this forest, there is a temple of Lord Shiva, and that the temple of Lord Shiva has a Shiva Linga, and that Shiva Linga was installed by none other than Lord Brahma himself, right? And in this temple, there was a learned sage called Sukama. What was his name? Sukama. And every day, this Sukama, he used to bring water from the river, he used to bring flowers from the forest, and he used to worship the Shivaling. And like that, he lived for many years. And then one day, a sage arrived in that temple, and Sukama served him some fruits. And Sukama told him that I have been living in this temple, have been doing this worship, and I've been performing many austerities for many, many years of my life. But now, after I have served you, I feel that all my effort, I have got the fruits of all my efforts, of all my austerity, all these years, everything has been taken care of just by my meeting you. So the sage was very pleased by the humility and the submission of Sukama. So what he does, he takes a stone and he writes on the stone some text. Okay, there is some disturbance. I will have to mute. 1 second. Okay, 1 second. Okay. So he takes a piece of stone and he writes some text on that stone, and he tells him that whatever I'm writing here, you recite it every day, and then you will attain the complete knowledge of Krishna. So he started Sukama started doing this, and from that day onwards, he did not feel any hunger or thirst. And because of the devotion of Sukama, that place also got completely purified. And anybody who went to that place would not feel any hunger or thirst, and he would feel completely fearless and completely peaceful. So after the story was narrated, now who is narrating the story? Who remembers? Who narrated the story?
Ma'am, story?
Who
Monkey.
narrated this last story?
Monkey.
Ah, yes, the monkey. So after the monkey has finished narrating this story, the tiger and the goat, they went to that temple. The tiger, the goat, and Mitravan, all these three, they have gone to that temple, right? temple where Lord Brahma has installed the Shiva Linga. So they go to the temple and they find that stone on which that text was written. And they also start narrating what is written on that stone. They also start reciting that text every day. And by doing that, they very quickly attain the mercy of Lord Krishna. Now, Deva Shyama, our original protagonist of the story, and the story. Deva Shyama, he returns to Pandharpur, and every day he also recited the second chapter of the Bhagavad-Gita. It's the second chapter which was written on the stone. Okay, so every day he also recites the second chapter of the Bhagavad-Gita, and he also attained the lotus feet of the Lord. So this is the glory or the Palashruti of reciting chapter 2 of the Bhagavad Gita every day. So these stories, as we discussed, are spoken by Lord Shiva to Goddess Parvati. And this conversation is a conversation within another conversation. The original conversation is between Lakshmi and Vishnu. So let's read this text. Okay, we need 2 volunteers because the shlokas today I'm going to play from an audio, a recorded audio. So we need 2 volunteers, one for the other text and one for the translations. Who can read the other text and who can read the translation?
Bluetooth hacker.
Sorry?
What?
Who can read the translations and who can read the other text?
I can read the text.
Okay, Disha can read the text and translation.
Can I read the translation?
Okay, Saket. So we have Saket and Disha as our volunteers. Okay, so let's read this text. Are you there, Disha?
Yes, sorry, I thought I had unmuted myself. Lord Vishnu said, "My dear Lakshmi, in this way Devashyama attained knowledge from Mitravan, and after worshipping that great soul, he returned to Pandharpur and daily recited the second chapter. And whoever visited Pandharpur, Devashyama would recite before him the second chapter of Srimad Bhagavad-Gita. In this way, Devashyama attained the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. My dear Lakshmi, these are the glories of the second chapter of Srimad Bhagavad-Gita."
Okay, so this is the Gita Mahatmya or the Falashruti, the fruit of reading, reciting, or learning the chapter 2 of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Okay. So this chapter is divided into 5 sections. We will see each section as we go. Today we'll try and finish section 1, where Arjuna has further doubts, right? He still has some doubts and he gives his 5th and last reason why he does not want to fight. And eventually he surrenders to Krishna. So this section also has the verse which is considered to be the turning point of the Bhagavad Gita. So we will see that as we go. Yeah, can we read this?
Section 1, 2.1 to 2.10, Arjuna's further doubts and surrender to Krishna. Arjuna's further reasons for not fighting and surrenders to Krishna. Practical application of Section 1. When one realizes that there is no shelter in the material world, including the mind and intelligence, he will take full shelter of spiritual authority.
Okay, 2.1. Please repeat. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om
Om
Namo
Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
अथ द्वितीयोऽध्यायः सञ्जय उवाच तं तथा कृपयाविष्टम् अश्रुपूर्णाकुलेक्षणम् विषीदन्तमिदं वाक्यम् उवाच मधुसूदनः.
Okay, translation.
Indriya said,
Seeing Arjuna full of compassion, his mind depressed, his eyes full of tears, Madhusudana, Krishna, spoke the following words.
So who's the speaker of this verse?
Sanjay.
Sanjaya,
And by what name is he referring to Krishna as?
Madhusudana.
Madhusudana. Yes, Madhusudana means he is the killer of the demon Madhu. So
Madhu.
actually, Dhritarashtra is now very happy because Arjuna says that he does not want to fight. So Dhritarashtra is feeling very happy. But Sanjaya, he is squashing the hopes of Dhritarashtra by saying that actually he is Madhusudana, he is the killer of demons. So he will also kill the demon-like doubts that are in Arjuna's mind. So what is happening here? You can see here, Ashru Purna Akula. Arjuna's eyes are full of tears. Ashru means tears. So his eyes are full of tears. Why? Because he's feeling compassion, isn't it? So he's feeling compassion, his eyes are full of tears, and now he says that Krishna is going to speak the following words. So let's try to understand this. Is compassion a good quality to have or a bad quality to have?
It's good for if it's for some spiritual activity, I think so.
Okay, it's good if it's for some spiritual activity. So for example, let's try to understand this. Let's say that there is a person who's a serial killer and he's in jail. And the government says that, okay, I'm feeling compassion for this person. Let him go out of jail. But after he comes out of jail, he is going on a rampage and he's killing many more people. So this compassion that was shown by the government was it an act of peace or was it an act of violence? Definitely, it's an act of
violence.
Yes, definitely it's an act of violence, isn't it? So
But
compassion is a good
sometime
quality to have, but it should not be misdirected. We should know where to show compassion and where we should not show compassion. So externally, it may appear that non-violence or not fighting will bring about peace, but sometimes non-violence and not fighting will bring about more violence. Okay, so we need to know where we should show compassion. Compassion is a good quality to have only when it is not misdirected. Let's see one more example. See, there are two ways to show compassion. Let's say somebody is coughing, and there are two ways that if we want the person to stop coughing, there are two ways to. One is take a paper and stuff the person's mouth with paper and stuff the person's mouth with the paper. The person will stop coughing. The other way is to take the person to a doctor, get him some medication, and cure the person of the disease. So both the actions will help the person to stop coughing, right? But one is the ignorant way and one is the knowledgeable way. So when we show compassion, we should use the knowledgeable way, not the ignorant way of showing compassion. Now, Arjuna's showing compassion to the Kauravas was in the ignorant way. Why? Because let's say he did not fight the war. What would have happened? Duryodhan would have been crowned king. And when a demoniac person is crowned king, he is going to create havoc in the entire kingdom. And so many people are going to suffer because of a demoniac person being the king. So Arjuna's compassion was misdirected. So Prabhupada explains the story in his purport. He says, let's read this text from the purport.
Compassion for the dress of a drowning man is senseless. A man fallen in the ocean of I'm not sure how to pronounce that. Nescience cannot be saved simply by rescuing his outward dress, the gross material body. One who does not know this and laments for the outward dress is called Shudra, or one who laments unnecessarily. Arjuna was a Kshatriya, and this conduct was not expected from him.
Okay, so let's try to understand this instructive story that Prabhupada has explained called as a drowning man. This is in the form of a comic. Can you read?
Help, 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 I'm drowning. Someone please save me. Help. Oh no, it's Marvin. Someone help him. Please, my husband is drowning. Please hurry up, or it will be too late. Don't worry, ma'am. I'll save that poor guy. I'm a social worker. Saving people is my business. Look, when people are hungry, they come to me. If they need a shirt on their backs, they come to me. If the sheriff throws them out on the street, they come to me. If they need The social worker tears off his jacket, takes off his tie, takes off his shoes, and dives into the lake. He swims over to the drowning man, grabs him, and starts pulling him back to the shore. The victim struggles. The social worker subdues him with a punch. At this point, the drowning man slips out of his jacket, and the social worker swims back to land with the jacket. Upon reaching the shore, the social worker yells, "Everything's okay, ma'am. I told you I'd take care of him. Here he is, ma'am. I told you I'd save him." Marvin? Oh no, you fool. You didn't save Marvin. You just saved his coat. Moral: while a social worker can alleviate a person's material problems or save his coat, he can't begin to help the real person living inside the body, the soul. Only by taking up a spiritual process can we do that. Then we can realize our spiritual nature and see the spiritual natures of others. In this age, the easiest and most recommended process of spiritual realization is to chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
So this person in our story, he's a social worker, right? And he goes to save the person, but he only brings the coat of the person. So here, the coat refers to the body. Okay, we are not the bodies; we are spirit souls. We are the soul who has a body. It's not that we are the body who has a soul. We have to understand that we are souls who have bodies. We are not bodies who have a soul. So when we do social service, and we have to ask the question, are we helping the soul of the person or we are helping the body of the person? If we are helping the body of the person, is just like we are saving the dress of the person, the coat of the person, but actual person, the real living entity, the soul, we are not helping. Let's try to understand this with an example. Let's say I'm running an old age home and I'm helping people who are old, who have nobody to take care of them. Okay. Now, when I'm taking care of them, I'm feeding them meat. I'm feeding them chicken. And they are eating the chicken, they are filling the bellies. Now, what is happening? Am I increasing their karmic bank balance or am I reducing it? Am I helping them come out of the cycle of birth and death? Or am I contributing to them remaining in the cycle of birth and death even more?
Remaining in a cycle of birth and death more.
Exactly. I'm contributing to them remaining in the cycle of birth and death even more. So what I'm doing is I'm helping the body of the person. I'm not helping the soul of the person. I'm not doing anything that will help them come out of the cycle of birth and death. So that is equal to saving the dress or the coat of the drowning man. Now, what I can do is, yes, I can have an old age home and I can help the old people, but instead of feeding them meat, I can feed them prasad. When I feed them prasad, just by eating or honoring that prasad, they are getting purified. Just by eating prasad, people can get purified. Now I am helping the soul of the person or I am helping the body of the person?
Soul of the person.
Yes, now I'm helping the soul of the person. So Arjuna's compassion is for the body. He's not thinking about the soul. Now, Krishna, when he kills the demon, even though he is killing the body, but the soul of that person is getting benefited. Why? Because the soul is going to attain the spiritual realm. But when Arjuna is going to show compassion and not kill the Kauravas, he is only creating a situation for them, making it easier for them to rule and create more disturbances. And he's actually creating a hellish situation for them, because they are going to commit more and more sinful activities, and they are going to get more and more entangled in the cycle of birth and death. So compassion should be towards the soul of the person. When compassion is towards the body of the person, then we are only entangling them more in the cycle of birth and death. So these social workers, when they do social service, but if they don't have the Lord in the center, then they are contributing more towards the other people being in the cycle of birth and death, and even their own self, they are contributing that they will stay in the material realm for a longer period of time. Is it okay? So surgery seems like violence, but it is benevolence. Arjuna's reluctance to fight was like a surgeon's reluctance to operate. So although externally a surgeon is using tools, he's cutting, right? He's using the scissor and the knife and he's cutting through the body. It may appear like it is violence, but what he is doing is for the well-being of the patient. In the same way, Arjuna, if he fights, it is only good for the Kauravas, because he is going to prevent them from performing more misdeeds. So yes, Arjuna was compassionate, but his compassion was misdirected. Let's go to 2.2.
Shri Bhagavanuvacha Kutasva Kashmalamidam Vishame Samupasthitam Anaryajushtamasvargyam Akirtikaram Arjuna.
Translation.
Translation. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "My dear Arjuna, how have these impurities come upon you? They are not at all befitting a man who knows the value of life. They lead not to higher planets, but to infamy."
So who is speaking this verse?
Krishna himself.
Krishna.
Yes, Krishna himself. So this verse is significant because it's the first time that Krishna is speaking a whole one full verse. Previously, he spoke one line, and that was narrated by Sanjaya. But here, this whole verse is being spoken by Krishna himself. So when somebody speaks the verse, we say so and so uvacha, isn't it? When Sanjaya spoke, it was Sanjaya uvacha, Dhritarashtra uvacha, Arjuna uvacha. But when Krishna speaks, it is not Krishna uvacha, it is Shri Bhagavan uvacha. So we will discuss what is the definition of Bhagavan. Okay, but first, before we come to the definition of Bhagavan, let us see what is Krishna saying here. He's telling him that what you are speaking is not befitting of you. He's telling him that don't be under pressure. So this is a pressure moment for Arjuna, but he's saying that all these things are not, they don't, it's not befitting you. And he gives 3 ways in which it is not befitting him.
Disturbance.
Let me mute. It's important that when you speak, you unmute, but then you have to mute yourself back. Otherwise, there seems to be a lot of disturbance. Okay. So there are 3 ways in which it's not suiting Arjuna. Krishna says, what you are speaking does not suit you, because he says it is what you are speaking is anaryam. See that the second last line, he says it is anaryam. An Arya is any person who is spiritually inclined, okay? And because Arjuna was spiritually inclined, he's saying that this is Anarya. What you're speaking does not suit you because actually you're an Aryan. So he says you are Anarya. Another reason he says this is a Swargam. So it will take you to the, it will not take you to Swarga, a Swargam. It will not take you to the higher planets. It will not take you to heaven. And then he says a Kirti. This will make you infamous. People will criticize you in the future. He says that this will bring you infamy. But now, of course, everybody glorifies Arjuna because he fought the war. But if Arjuna had not fought the war, then he would have become infamous. So Krishna is giving 3 reasons. He says it doesn't suit. What you are saying does not suit you because it is anarya, it is a Swargam, and it is a Kirti. Okay, now coming to this word Bhagavan, we have to understand. Let's first go to the definition of Bhagavan. 1 second. Okay, the word Bhagavan is a combination of 2 words, Bhaga plus Van. The word Bhag means opulence, and Van means one who possesses. So Bhagavan is one who possesses opulences. Now, what are these opulences? There are 6 opulences. They are wealth, strength, fame, beauty, wisdom, and renunciation. These are the opulences. And Bhagavan is one who has all 6 opulences. Not only does he have all 6, he has all 6 in full quantity. This definition of Bhagavan is given to us by Parashar Muni. Parashar Muni was the father of Vyasadeva, and he has given this definition of God in the Vishnu Puran. Let's read this.
Sri Parashara Muni, the father of the great Srila Vyasadeva, has given the definition of God thus in the Vishnu Purana 6.5.47.
Can you read the verse?
Would you like me to? Yes. Aishwaryasya Samagrashya Viryashya Yashasaha Priyaha Jnana Vairagyayosh Chaiva Sanam Bhaga Itingana. Translation: full wealth, strength, fame, beauty, knowledge, and renunciation. These are the 6 opulences of the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
So this is a definition of Bhagavan, God. God is he who has all 6 opulences, and he has these 6 opulences in full. Here in the material world, maybe somebody has some wealth, but he cannot have all the wealth on the planet, or all the wealth in the universe, or all the wealth that exists in both the spiritual and material realms, right? Somebody may have some strength, but he cannot have all the strength in the universe. So, and he will not have wealth as well as strength, as well as fame, as well as beauty, as well as wisdom, as well as renunciation. He cannot have all 6. So in the material realms, we may have 1 or 2, a few of them, and even if we have some of them, we will have them in small quantities. But Bhagavan is one who has all 6, and he has all 6 in full quantity. Now we will analyze each of these opulences in detail to understand better. So let's discuss wealth.
Wealth. Krishna declares in the Gita, Aham Sarvasya Prabhavo Mattaha Sarvam Pravartate. I am the source of everything and everything emanates from me. He also says, I am the father of this universe, the mother, the support, and the grandsire. Bhagavad-Gita 9.17. The whole cosmic order is under me. By my will, it is manifested again and again, and by my will, it is annihilated at the end. Bhagavad-Gita 9.8. Thus, the entire material creation, along with all its planets and riches, belong to the Supreme Lord Krishna. Krishna proved it when he showed the entire cosmic manifestation in his universal form on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. He even showed the whole universe in his mouth to Mother Yashoda. As such, no one can equal the richness of Krishna since everything belongs to him.
So Krishna himself says in the 9th chapter, Krishna reveals a lot about himself. That's why the 9th chapter is titled as the most confidential knowledge. That's the title of chapter 9, most confidential knowledge. So we will get there someday by the mercy of Prabhupada. But yes, Krishna says that everything emanates from me. So everything material and everything spiritual is coming from Krishna. Krishna is not an avatar. Krishna is an avatari. This is a misconception many people have. They think that Krishna is an expansion of Vishnu. No, Krishna is not an expansion of Vishnu. Vishnu is an expansion of Krishna. So we will see this in great detail later. For now, we just see how Krishna himself declares that everything has come from him. And when he showed the universal form, he showed how the entire cosmic structure is within him. All the demigods, all the devatas were seen in that form, in that universal form. So this is wealth. Next, opulence, strength.
Strength. As far as the strength of Krishna is concerned, he demonstrated several superhuman acts. When he was a small baby, killed a 12-mile-long demon named Putana. He lifted the Govardhan hill with only his little finger on his left hand and held it for 7 continuous days and nights. He effortlessly killed several demons like Bakashura, Trinavarta, Keshi, Aritasura, Agasura, Kamsa, etc. No one in history could ever match his strength.
Okay, so this is the opulence of strength. Third opulence, fame.
Fame. Krishna's fame is spread all over the world. People in every part of the world know about Krishna, even 5,000 years after he wound up his pastimes on the planet. Besides, his teachings to Arjuna, the Bhagavad-Gita, is also widely read all over the world. The Bhagavad-Gita's fame is Krishna's fame. Thus, his fame outstrips that of any other.
So we may have some famous personalities now, but a couple of generations down the line, they are going to be forgotten, isn't it? But Krishna, he spoke the Gita for a few minutes on the battlefield some 5,000 years ago. And even today, great philosophers are trying to decode the mysteries of the Gita. So the fame of the Gita is the fame of Krishna. So famous. Beauty.
Beauty. Krishna's body is described in Srimad Bhagavatam 4.24.45 to 46 as Sarva Saundarya Sangraham, a reservoir of beauty. The word Sarva Saundarya indicates that there are different types of beauties in the material and spiritual worlds, and that the Lord contains all of them. No one can say that the beauty of the Lord is wanting in beautiful parts. It is completely Purna. Everything is complete. Both materialists and spiritualists can enjoy the beauty of the Lord. Because the Supreme Lord attracts everyone, including demons and devotees, materialists and spiritualists, he is called Krishna. It is said in the Brahma Samhita that Krishna's beauty cannot be equaled even by the beauty of millions of cupids combined together. The unique feature of Krishna's beauty is that he never grows old and always appears young. When Krishna was driving Arjuna's chariot in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, he was a grandfather, yet he looked like youthful. Thus, Krishna is described as Nava Yauvana, one who is always a fresh youth and never grows old.
So has anybody seen a picture of Krishna as an old man? Have you ever seen? You will never see a picture of Krishna as an old man. Krishna eternally lives as a 16-year-old boy in Golok Vrindavan. In the spiritual realm, he's eternally residing there as a 16-year-old boy. Okay, in the second paragraph, we mentioned Brahma Samhita. What is this Brahma Samhita? Who has written the Brahma Samhita?
Brahma, Lord Brahma.
Yes, Lord Brahma himself has written 100 verses glorifying Krishna. So at the dawn of creation, when Brahma appeared from the lotus, so we have Mahavishnu, from the navel of Mahavishnu comes a lotus, and from that lotus, Brahma comes into existence. This is there in the Srimad Bhagavatam. And when Brahma comes into existence from that lotus flower, he does not know why he is there. What is the reason of his existence? Where has he come from? What is he supposed to do? He has no idea. So the Bhagavatam describes how he went into meditation for thousands of years. And then at the end of his meditation, he receives the 4 nutshell verses, just 4 shlokas. They are called as the 4 nutshell verses of the Bhagavatam via the transcendental flute vibration of Krishna. Those 4 verses then become the 4 Vedas. Now, Brahma is supremely intelligent. He is the most intelligent entity of the universe. So, all that he requires to understand is just those 4 shlokas. Okay, so then after Brahma receives that knowledge, then he recites 100 verses glorifying Krishna. So, this Brahma Samhita is that. And Lord Brahma says that Krishna's beauty cannot be equal even by the beauty of millions of cupids combined together. Such is the beauty of Krishna. And also our acharyas state that Krishna is so beautiful, he is so attractive that sometimes he looks at his image on a pillar and he goes to embrace it. I mean, who feels like embracing the mirror when we look at ourselves in the mirror, right? But Krishna's beauty is so unparalleled that sometimes he himself goes and embraces the pillar. That's how beautiful Krishna is. Fifth, opulence, wisdom.
Wisdom. Krishna's wisdom is acclaimed all over the world. The Gita, which is nothing but the words of wisdom spoken by Krishna, is revered and studied by philosophers, psychologists, and religionists all over the world, such as Mahatma Gandhi, Albert Einstein, etc. There is no comparison in the world to such knowledge as the knowledge of the Bhagavad-Gita.
So anywhere in the world you go, any path you try to follow, any philosophy you try to read, you will not get better philosophy than Bhagavad-Gita anywhere. It cannot get better than this. That you will realize, if you have not already realized, when we come to the end of the Gita, how you will not get better philosophy than this anywhere else. Sixth, opulence, renunciation.
Renunciation. Krishna's renunciation is demonstrated by the fact that, although he has created this world, he is not attached to it. We are born in this world for a few years, and during that temporary period, we claim many things as our own. Although Krishna owns everything in the material and spiritual worlds, still he does not get attached to it. Neither is he proud of his possessions. Although he is Madhava, Lakshmipati, husband of the goddess of fortune, he took the humble position of being the chariot driver of his devotee Arjuna. He also washed the feet of Brahmanas and other holy men, giving them their due respect. Thus, his renunciation is unparalleled, and he is worshipped by great sages and renunciants.
So how Krishna says he is Aham Sarvasva Prabhavo, everything emanates from Krishna, but although he is the supreme owner, he is Sarva Loka Maheshwaram. He is the owner of all the lokas, all the planetary systems. So although he is Sarva Loka Maheshwaram, he is not attached to it. Yes, he agreed to become the servant of his devotee. We saw that in chapter 1, how by being Partha Sarathi, he agreed to be the servant of his devotee. Now in the battlefield, when there is a lot of noise, right? People are fighting and there are these weapons being hurled over. So there is a lot of noise around in the battlefield. And it's not possible for Arjuna to tell Krishna, take me left, take me right, or take me straight, because of the noise. It's not possible. So Arjuna had to kick. He had to kick Krishna with his leg. So if he kicks him on the left shoulder, it means Krishna has to go to the left. If he kicks Krishna on the right shoulder, it means he has to take the chariot to the right. And if he kicks him in the center of the back, it means he wants to go straight ahead. So imagine, Krishna agreed to be even kicked by his devotee. That's how renounced Krishna is. So these are the 6 opulences, and we see how Krishna fulfills the definition of Bhagavan. That is why he is called as Bhagavan. Okay.
In Sanskrit, the name Krishna means all attractive. It is the fact that anyone who possesses any one of the above mentioned 6 opulences to even some extent becomes attractive in this world. The rich and the famous, the bold and the beautiful are all attractive. We are all enamored by the rich, the beautiful, the intelligent, the powerful, the famous, and the renounced people in the world. Everyone dreams of making it big in life, like one of those people who possesses any of these opulences. Hence, it is obvious that these opulences make a person attractive. And according to the definition of God given in the Vishnu Purana, since God possesses all these opulences in full, he must be the most attractive person. Thus, if God can be given any name at all, it must be all attractive. In Sanskrit, the word for all attractive is Krishna. Hence, Krishna is the prime name for the Supreme Lord, although he may have many names.
Yes. So God has millions of names. And the word Krishna means all attractive. So if somebody has a little bit of intelligence, somebody has a little bit of beauty, some wealth, people get attracted to that person. It's natural, isn't it? And if a person has all of these 6 qualities and in full quantity, definitely he is all attractive. And that's what the word Krishna means. Okay, now let's go back to the slides that we skipped here. Okay, so Sri Bhagavan Uvacha. Another important aspect is this. Whatever paths exist, right? Whatever religious beliefs are there, they all realize God in 3 aspects, 3 features. So the same God can be realized in 3 features. What are the 3 features of God? Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. So some people think God is a light or an energy. So that is called as the Brahman realization of God, where they think that God is an energy or a light. Then another realization or a higher realization than that is to believe that God is the super soul who is present in the heart of every living entity. So that is called as the Paramatma realization. That is a higher understanding than Brahman realization. But the highest understanding of God is when we believe or when we understand that God is a person. He is a person like you and me, but he is the supreme person. So Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan are the 3 features by which we can realize God. They are the same, it's the same God. But some people believe he's a light. Some people believe he's the Paramatma. Some people believe that he's a person. All 3 are correct. It's not that it's wrong. All 3 are correct. But one understanding is higher than the other understanding. Paramatma understanding is higher than the Brahman understanding, and the Bhagavan understanding is the highest when we believe that God is a person. He is not just a light or an energy. He is not only in our hearts. Yes, he is in our hearts, but he is also a person. He's a personality. So Bhagavan realization is the highest understanding of God. And if one believes, if one truly believes that God is a person, then he is more advanced than 99% of the world population. That's the highest understanding. Okay. Let's try to understand this further. So let's say we look at a mountain range from a distance. What do we see? We can see the shape of the mountains, right? And a kind of a shadow. That's what we see. But as we walk closer towards the mountains, then we can see the grass and the trees and the plants that are growing on those mountains. It's the same mountain, but it's just that now the distance between the mountain and us is less. And now as we walk even further towards the mountain, as we go closer and closer and closer towards the same mountain, now we can see the people who are residing on that mountain, or the people who are selling goods and doing business on that mountain. So it's the same mountain, but our understanding of the mountain has become better as we go closer to the mountain. So when we try to understand God from a distance, then it is Brahman realization. When we try to probe further, inquire further, and try to gather more knowledge, then we realize that God is Paramatma. And when we probe even deeper and higher, then we understand that God is a person. So it's the same mountain, right? But our perception has got better as we move closer towards the mountain. So all three are correct, right? The same mountain is there on the left, in the middle, and the right. It's the same mountain. It's just that our understanding has gotten deeper. So that is Brahman realization, Paramatma realization, and Bhagavan realization. Prabhupada explains this with a sun analogy. Let's try to understand this.
These three divine aspects can be explained by the example of the sun, which also has three different aspects, namely the sunshine, the sun's surface, and the sun planet itself. One who studies the sunshine only is the preliminary student. One who understands the sun's surface is further advanced, and one who can enter into the sun planet is the highest. Ordinary students who are satisfied by simply understanding the sunshine, its universal pervasiveness, and the glaring effulgence of its impersonal nature, may be compared to those who can realize only the Brahman feature of the absolute truth. The student who has advanced still further can know the sun disk, which is compared to knowledge of the Paramatma feature of the absolute truth. And the student who can enter into the heart of the sun planet is compared to those who realize the personal features of the supreme absolute truth. Therefore, the bhaktas, or the transcendentalists who have realized the Bhagwan feature of the absolute truth, are the topmost transcendentalists. Although all students who are engaged in the study of the absolute truth are engaged in the same subject matter. The sunshine, the sun disk, and the inner affairs of the sun planet cannot be separated from one another. And yet the students of the three different phases are not in the same category.
So this is from the purport of 2.2. So the study of the sunshine, the sun disk, and the sun planet itself is being compared to Brahman realization, Paramatma realization, and Bhagavan realization. A student who has studied only the sunshine, and he says the sun is nothing but only the sunshine, only the rays of the sun is just that. Then yes, his knowledge is correct, but it is not complete. And when he studies further, when he goes to the next grade, then he realizes that no, there is more to the sun than just the sunshine, the disk of the sun. And when he studies even further, then he understands the sun as a planet. So these are the three phases of understanding: Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. So all religions, whether it is Islam or Christianity or Jainism, Buddhism, Sikhism, any ism, everything, they realize God in one of these three features. Either they think that God is a light, or they think God is Paramatma, or they think God is a person. So those who believe that God is a light, then they meditate on that light. And those category of transcendentalists, they are called as Gyanis, because they study the Upanishads, they are students of the Upanishads, and they come to the understanding that God is a light. So the category of people, the transcendentalists who believe that God is a light, they are called as the Gyanis. But higher than the Gyanis are the yogis. The yogis, they meditate on the super soul, on the form of the Lord that is residing in their heart and in the heart of every living entity. So they are called as the yogis. But the highest category of transcendentalists are the bhaktas, or the devotees, where they meditate on the form of the Lord as a person. God is a person like you and me, but he is the supreme person. We may be Purushas, we may be people, Purushas, but the Lord is Purushottama. He is Purusha Uttama. He is the topmost person. So the three ways to realize God is Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. And the three categories of transcendentalists who realize these three phases are Gyanis, Yogis, and Bhaktas. This is very, very, very important concept. Please make a note. Okay, so what do these people attain? Somebody has lived all his life thinking that God is light. Somebody has lived all his life thinking that God is Paramatma. He has not come to the next higher level of understanding. So then what happens to them? Let us see this quote from the Chaitanya Charitamrita.
Yadyapi se mukti haya pancha parakara saloka samipya sarupya sarshti sayogya ara. Translation. There are 5 kinds of liberation: Salokya, Samipya, Sarupya, Sarshti, and Sayogya. Purport. Salokya means that after material liberation, one is promoted to the planet where the Supreme Personality of Godhead resides. Samipya means regaining an associate of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Sarupya means attaining a 4-handed form like that of the Lord. Sarshti means attaining opulences like those of the Supreme Lord, and Sayogya means merging into the Brahman effulgence of the Lord.
So we usually say mukti, we want liberation, we want freedom from the cycle of birth and death. But even liberation are of 5 kinds. There are 5 kinds of mukti, 5 kinds of liberation. What are the 5 kinds of liberation? Salokya, Samipya, Sarupya, Sarshti, and Sayugya. Saloka, Loka means planet. So Salokya means we are living on the same planet as the Lord. Samipya means Samipya means to be close. So we are living as an associate of the Lord. What does that mean? If the Lord goes to planet Earth, then his associates also go with him for performing pastimes. So that is called Samipya, association, becoming a close associate of the Lord. Wherever the Lord goes, the associates of the Lord also go. Then Sarupya, Rupa means form, right? The physical appearance. So Sarupya means they attain the same 4-handed form like the Lord. Sarshti, you get the same opulence like the Lord. And Sayugya means you merge into the Brahman effulgence of the Lord. So what is this Brahman effulgence? Brahman effulgence is nothing but the light that emanates from the body of Krishna. Okay, he is effulgent, the Lord is effulgent. So the light that is coming out of his body is called as Brahman effulgence. So one who believes that God is light, if he has perfected his meditation, then at the end of his lifetime, he merges into the Brahman effulgence. But a bhakta, a devotee, he says, he prays that I would be able to accept the first 4, Salokya, Samipya, Sarupya, Sarshti, but he would reject Sayugya. Why a bhakta wants to reject Sayugya, why he does not want Sayugya Mukti, is because when one is merging into the Brahman effulgence, then you just exist in that light. You cannot have an interactive or a loving relationship with the Lord. It's just like the son has met the father after many lifetimes, right? Or after many years, but the son is existing, the father is in front of him, but they cannot go and embrace each other. There is no relationship because God is not a person for him, is only a light. So he's just existing in the light. He cannot have a relationship. He cannot have an intimate relationship with the Lord. So a bhakta or a devotee rejects Sayugya Mukti. He prefers to remain on the material world, on the material realm, rather than attaining the Sayugya Mukti. Because at least when he's in the material world, he can do some service to the Lord. He can engage in devotional service and he can have a relationship. But if he's existing in the light, then there is nothing that he can do there. He just exists, and it stops at that. Let's try to read this.
Salokya sarshti sarupya samipya katvam api uta diya manam na grahananti vina mat sevanam janaha. My devotees do not accept Salokya, Sarshti, Sarupya, Samipya, or oneness with me, even if I offer these liberations in preference to serving me. These
So
3 verses, sorry. These
Yeah,
3 verses from Srimad Bhagavatam were spoken by Lord Krishna in the form of Kapila Deva.
Okay, so now this is a higher understanding than even the previous understanding. Here, Kapila Dev, who was none other than Krishna, he says that actually my devotees do not even want, they don't even desire Salukya, Sashti, Sarupya, Samipya or Sayugya. They don't even want this in preference to serving me. So the highest understanding is that the devotee only wants to serve the Lord. He is not interested in even mukti. He does not even want liberation. All that he wants is to serve the Lord. Now, whether he serves the Lord in the spiritual world or he serves in the material world, it does not matter to a devotee. All that he wants is to serve. So let's say, and also we understand that what service we do in the material realm is an indication of the service that we were doing when we were in the spiritual realm. That's why some people are attracted to a particular kind of service, right? Some people like to become a pujari. They enjoy the role of a pujari. Some people don't like to do pujari services. Some people enjoy to cook for Krishna. Somebody likes to become the cook in the temple, or somebody may like to make flower garlands for the Lord. So there are different people get attracted to different kinds of services. They have a natural attraction for different kinds of services. So that can be an indication of the service that they were engaged in when they were in the spiritual realm. That's why you have a natural attraction for a particular kind of seva. So whether they do the seva in the material realm or in the spiritual realm, it does not matter to a devotee. All that he wants is he wants to serve the Lord. That's what is his desire. Now, what service is possible to do in the material world, but it is not possible to do that service in the spiritual world? Can you think of some service that we can do in the material world, but we cannot do in the spiritual world? Saket, you said something I didn't hear.
Yes, ma'am. Preaching.
Preaching. We cannot preach. We cannot preach in the spiritual realm. Why?
Because there everyone has learned, and in the material world not everyone has learned, but in the spiritual world everyone has learned, so we don't have anyone to preach.
Yes, in the spiritual realm, everybody is self-realized. No, nobody needs the knowledge of the Bhagavad-Gita in the spiritual world because everybody there is a self-realized soul. So how can you preach in the spiritual realm? So preaching is one service that we cannot do in the spiritual realm. We can only do it in the material realm. Okay. Is this concept clear? Does anybody have a question? The 5 kinds of liberation. Okay, so we have seen so far that the absolute truth or God can be realized in 3 features. What are they? Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. So we saw the comparison. We try to understand this by 2 examples. We saw the sun example and the mountain example. And then we discussed how the Jnanis realize the Brahman feature, the yogis realize the Paramatma feature, and the bhaktas realize the Bhagavan feature. And then we discussed the 5 kinds of liberation: Salokya, Samipya, Sarupya, Sashti, and Sayugya. A bhakta would accept the first 4, but he will definitely reject the Sayugya. And an even higher understanding than that is, a devotee is not interested in any of the 5. He does not care for liberation. All that he wants is to serve the Lord. So whether he serves in the material realm or in the spiritual realm, it does not matter to him. And then we saw the definition of Bhagavan. Bhagavan definition is given by Parashar Muni in the Vishnu Puran, and he says Bhagavan is that person who has all 6 opulences in full quantity. And we saw how Krishna has fulfilled this definition. Okay, so now there is more evidence to this. Let us see what Brahma has to say about Krishna.
Lord Brahma, who is the first created living being, states in the Brahma Samhita 5.1, Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachit Ananda Vigraha Anadir Adir Govindaha Sarva Karana Karanam. Krishna, who is known as Govinda, is the supreme Godhead. He has eternal blissful spiritual body. He is the origin of all. He has no other origin, and he is the prime cause of all causes.
So who is saying that Krishna is the supreme Godhead? Who is saying this?
It is
Brahma.
Brahma.
Yes, Lord Brahma himself. Lord Brahma is saying Ishvara Parama Krishna. Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. Then what is he saying? Anadir Adir Govinda. He has no other origin but himself. He has no other origin. You cannot say that Krishna is coming from so and so. Krishna has no origin. From Krishna, everything originates. And I am not saying this. Lord Brahma is saying this in the Brahma Samhita. Okay, you can go to your Veda base, go to Brahma Samhita, open the first verse that is there. That is this. Ishvara Parama Krishna, Sachitananda Vigraha, Anadir Adir Govinda, Sarva Karana Karanam. Sarva Karana Karana means he is the cause of
Cause
all
of all
causes.
causes.
Everything that is happening, he is the cause of that. He is the cause of all causes. He is not caused by something else or somebody else. He is the cause of all causes. So he is Anadir Adir and he is Sarva Karana Karanam. There is more evidence. Let us see this verse from the Srimad Bhagavatam.
After describing various incarnations of the Lord, such as Rama, Balarama, Vamana,
So,
Narsimha.
Narsimha, and Vishnu, Sukadeva Goswami states, Ete Shamsa Kalaha Pumsa Krishnas tu Bhagwan Svayam Indrari Vyakulam Lokam Mridayanti Yuge Yuge. All of the above mentioned incarnations are either plenary portions or portions of the plenary portions of the Lord. But Lord Sri Krishna is the original personality of Godhead. All of them appear on planets whenever there is a disturbance created by the atheists. The Lord incarnates to protect the theists.
So as we discussed, the Srimad Bhagavatam is a conversation between Sukadeva Goswami and Maharaj Parikshit. You can see in the picture, Sukadeva Goswami is on that elevated seat and Maharaj Parikshit is down and he is receiving the knowledge. And here in this, it's in Canto 1, Chapter 3, verse number 28. You can go to your Veda base and read this. In fact, the title of the chapter is Krishna is the source of all incarnations. That is the title. And Sukadeva Goswami narrates, he gives details of all the incarnations that have already appeared and those who will appear also in the future. And after he gives complete detail of all the incarnations, at the end he says that all these incarnations are plenary portions or portions of the plenary portions, but Krishna is the original personality of Godhead. So there is more Shastric evidence why we say Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. Okay, the Guru Granth also mentions the Lord as this. Let's only read the English here, Disha, please.
The Supreme Lord God is imperishable, the transcendent Lord, the inner knower, the searcher of hearts. He is the slayer of demons, our Supreme Lord and Master. The Supreme Rishi, the master of sensory organs, the uplifter of mountains, the joyful Lord playing his enticing flute. The enticer of hearts, the Lord of wealth, Krishna, the enemy of ego. The Lord of the universe, the dear Lord, the destroyer of demons.
So even the Guru Granth, you can go to, if you can download the PDF. The PDF of Guru Granth is also available online. You go to page number 1082 and you can see how the Guru Granth mentions the Supreme Lord as he who is the slayer of demons, as he who is the master of sensory organs, as he who is the uplifter of mountains, as he who plays the enticing flute. Now, who has killed demons, has uplifted mountains, and plays the flute? Anybody else other than Krishna can it refer to?
hello,
Yeah,
I can hear you.
and also it then explicitly says the enticer of hearts, the Lord of wealth, Krishna. So even specifically the word Krishna is given. So all Shastric evidence point to the same thing. It's just that not everybody reads the Shastra in a systematic way or in a scrutinizing way, and people think that there is a difference. Actually, there is no difference. All the teachings are the same. It's just that the perceptions have changed. Somebody sees God as the light, somebody sees God as Paramatma, somebody sees God as a person. All three are correct, but only the level of understanding gets better. So let's go to 2.3 now.
क्लैब्यम् आस्मगमः पार्थ नैतत्त्वय्युपपद्यते क्षुद्रं हृदय दौर्बल्यम् त्यक्त्वोत्तिष्ठ परन्तप.
O son of Pritha, do not yield to this degrading importance. It does not become you. Give up such petty weakness of heart and arise, O chastiser of the enemy.
So here Krishna is using some very strong words for Arjuna. It's like a verbal slap on his face, especially two words. What are the two very strong words he's using?
The first one is Laibhyam.
Yes, Clivium. What does it mean?
It says impotency.
Important, yes. And the other strong word that he's using is?
Durbalam.
Daurbalyam, weakness, but strong, very strong word. He's not only calling him weak, but very strong. He's saying you are a...
Hriday Dorbalyam.
No, before that.
Parantapa.
Shudra. No, Parantapa is a good word. No, Parantapa means chastiser of enemies. The two very strong words that he's using here is Klaibyam and Shudram. Okay, Klaibyam and Shudram. He's calling him important and he's calling him a Shudra. So he's saying that you are important and you are Shudra. These are like verbal slaps on Arjuna's face. And especially when he calls him important, Krishna is bringing back some memories for Arjuna, because Arjuna actually lived 1 year of his life as an important. Let's see the story. When Arjuna went to the heavenly planets, now of course Arjuna is biologically the son of Lord Indra, right? So he goes to this heavenly planets, and Indra sees Arjuna glancing at Urvashi. And Indra thinks that Arjuna is interested in Urvashi. Okay. And therefore Indra tells Urvashi to go and approach Arjuna and satisfy him. So when Urvashi is following the instructions of her master Indra, and Urvashi approaches Arjuna. But what does Arjuna say? Arjuna says that no, I was glancing at you because I was remembering how one of my ancestors was attracted to you. One of Arjuna's ancestors was attracted to Urvashi. So he saw Urvashi as his mother. That's why he was glancing at Urvashi. He was not interested in enjoying with Urvashi. But when Urvashi approached Arjuna and Arjuna said, no, I cannot satisfy your desire because I see you as my mother. Urvashi said, but these rules and regulations do not apply to the heavenly planets. Now again, we should not misunderstand Indra or Urvashi. Every loka, every planetary system has its set of rules and regulations. Okay, so in the heavenly planets, it's not considered a sinful activity. Just like how in India, we have some rules. In Chile, we have some rules. If we commit something in Chile, it may be considered illegal here, but probably in India, it's not considered illegal. So you can get away with it in India. So like that in the heavenly, because the residents of the heavenly planets, they have got that position after doing some austerity, after doing some tapasya only. That facility is given to them in the heavenly planets. It's like a reward given to them for their austerity and penances. So they are allowed that kind of enjoyment in the heavenly planets. They have earned it. But in the earthly planets, we are not allowed. In our planet, we have not earned it. That's why we are here. So we have to follow the rules of our planet. So anyway, Urvashi tells Arjuna, but what you are saying, that rule does not apply in the heavenly planets. It's here, it is not considered sinful. But Arjuna says, no, but I belong to the earthly planets and I cannot fulfill your desire. Now, for a very beautiful woman to approach a man and be rejected by a man, it can be very insulting, right? So Urvashi, she felt that she is rejected and she felt very outrageous. So she cursed Arjuna that you will live to become a eunuch for 1 year. And then now Arjuna is like totally taken aback. So imagine, he has shown self-restraint. Urvashi is so beautiful. She has, I mean, her beauty is spoken of. Many sages and rishis have fallen because of her beauty, right? She is so extremely beautiful. And here she herself has approached Arjuna, and Arjuna has shown self-restraint. He has shown that he can control his senses. And instead of being rewarded, he is being cursed. So Arjuna is totally shocked. I mean, like, what is happening? So he asks Indra, what's going on? Instead of being rewarded, I am being punished. So then Indra tells him that don't worry, this curse also will be useful for you. And of course, during the 1 year of Agyatwas, when they had to live incognito, he lived. Here is the picture of how Urvashi has cursed Arjuna. So then he lived for 1 year of his life as Brihanala. He became the dance and singing teacher of, what was her name? That I forgot her name.
Uttara.
Uttara, yes, Uttara, correct. Uttara, the daughter of Virat. So all these 5 brothers, they lived in the kingdom of Virat, incognito. And Virat actually got Arjuna examined physically to make sure that yes, he is a eunuch. And if Arjuna was not indeed a eunuch, then he would have been discovered. Yes. So that 1 year he had to live as a eunuch. And when Krishna calls him an impotent, Klaidyam, it's bringing back these harrowing memories for Arjuna. So Krishna is trying to pep up Arjuna by, by prodding him that no, don't be this, don't be weak. You cannot behave like an impotent. You cannot behave like a Shudra. Okay, so that is 2.3. Now let's go to 2.4.
Arjuna uvacha katham bhishmamaham sankhe dronam cha madhusudana ishubhih pratiyotyami pujarha varisudana.
Translation. Are you there, Saket? Okay, so looks like Saket has disappeared. Can anybody read the translation, please?
I shall speak.
Yes, please.
Translation. Arjuna said, O killer of enemies, O killer of Madhu, how can I counterattack with arrows in battle men like Bhishma and Drona, who are worthy of my worship?
So by what names is Arjuna referring to Krishna here?
Killer of Madhu.
Madhusudana.
Yes, Madhusudana. First he calls him Madhusudana and then he calls him second name?
Arisudana.
Arisudana, yes. Madhusudana and Arisudana. Arisudana means killer of the enemies. And of course, Madhusudana, killer of the demon Madhu. So first he's calling him Madhusudana and then he's calling him Arisudana, saying that yes, you have only killed demons, but you are asking me to kill Bhishma and Drona, those personalities whom I should be worshipping. Arjuna said. 2.5.
Guruna hatva hi mahanubhavan sheyo bhoktum bhaikshamabhiha loke hatvartha kamanstu guruni haiva bhunjiya bhogan dudhira pradigdhan.
Translation.
It would be better to live in this world by begging than to live at the cost of the lives of great souls who are my teachers. Even even though desiring worldly gain, they are superiors. If they are killed, everything we enjoy will be tainted with blood.
So see, Arjuna, he is saying that it's better. I can even live by begging, but I don't want to kill these Mahanubhavan. I don't want to kill these great souls who are my teachers. So he prefers to live by begging rather than getting this kingdom at the cost of the blood of this Mahanubhavan. He's saying Gurun ahatva. Guru should not be killed. Hatva means to kill, hatya, and Guru means Guru. So ahatva means not to be killed. So these Gurus, these superiors, they should not be killed. They are great souls. They are Mahanubhavan. And he says that there is no Shreya. Remember, last time we saw Shreyas and Preyas. So he says that this is not Shreyas. There is no long-term benefit that I'm going to get because the kingdom that I will get will be tainted with blood. So is Arjuna correct in saying that Gurun ahatva hi Mahanubhavan? Is he right or is he wrong? What do you think? What
One
does
way he is
Shastra
right.
say? Yeah, Shastra say. What does Shastra say? Does the Shastra give you permission to kill your gurus?
No.
No.
So then,
But
how to
Krishna
resolve this
himself
problem?
is saying, no?
Huh?
Krishna is saying to kill him, no? As Krishna is the superior one, if he, the Shastra is saying that when Guru or Bhagavan is saying something, no need to think it whether it is right or wrong. We can do. As Krishna is saying, we can do it.
Yes, exactly. So the what Krishna says can overrule any other rules, right? But if we correct, you are right. But if we want to still follow only Shastra, under what circumstances does the Shastra allow us to kill the Guru? Can the
Yeah,
Guru be
because this
overruled?
because this is the war of dharma and adharma. So to protect the dharma, I think so you have to fight against the dharma.
Okay, so to protect dharma, you can overrule even the spiritual master. So is there an example where a person has rejected his spiritual master from our history, from our Shastric history? Can you think of one personality who rejected what his spiritual master said and was rewarded for it?
He rewarded also?
Yes, he was rewarded for it. Somebody rejected his guru's instruction and was rewarded for it.
Because according to Krishna words, no, some things will be there. Sometimes a guru may tell which is not good. Depends on the Krishna's words, he may reject.
Yes, but
Prahlad Maharaj.
Prahlad Maharaj rejected his guru. Who rejected?
Eklavya?
Ekalavya rejected his guru? No, his guru rejected Ekalavya. Dronacharya rejected Ekalavya, but where the
Yeah,
disciple has rejected the guru, that example. Okay, so let's not waste time. Yeah, Jyoti, you want to say something? Who? Hiranyakashyap rejected his guru and he was rewarded.
Lavin is saying Bali Maharaj.
Ah, yes, Bali Maharaj, correct. Correct. I'm sorry, I'm not seeing the chat. So, okay, yes, Bali Maharaj, correct. So, Bali Maharaj was approached by Vamana Dev, isn't it, for 3 steps of land. And who was the guru of Bali Maharaj? Who was the guru of Bali Maharaj?
Mataji, I think Sukracharya.
Shukracharya, yes, Shukracharya was his spiritual master. So when Vamana Dev approached Bali Maharaj in the form of a dwarf Brahman, Shukracharya recognized that this person who appears to be a dwarf Brahman, actually he is the supreme personality of Godhead. He is Vamana Dev. Yes. So he told Bali Maharaj, do not promise him the 3 steps of land. Don't promise him that. What? So what is the guru supposed to do? Guru teaches the disciple, yes, you must surrender to God. And here Shukracharya was preventing Bali Maharaj from surrendering to Vamanadev. So what did Bali Maharaj say? Bali Maharaj said, even if he is a supreme personality of Godhead, yet I will surrender unto him. So Bali Maharaj rejected the instruction that was given to him by his guru. Why? Because the guru was not saying what was there in the Shastra. So then, of course, Vamanadev took the third step on the head of Bali Maharaj because there was no place where he should take the third step. Right, with the first step, he covered the planet, the earthly planets. With the second step, he covered everything above, and there was no place for the third step. So Bali Maharaj, he surrendered himself. He said, you keep your third step on my head. So he surrendered everything. Now, what was the reward that was given to Bali Maharaj in return? How was he rewarded?
He became the king of the planet, no? Patal
Yes,
Loka.
he was given a complete planet to himself. What is the planet of Bali Maharaj called?
It is Patal Loka, no?
Yeah, no, Pataloka has many planets, but his planet is called?
Krishanku?
No,
Mayank.
no. His planet is called Sutala. Okay, Sutala. So Sutala is a planet that is given to Bali Maharaj. And who is guarding this planet? Who is standing guard? Yes, Vamanadev, correct. Vamanadev himself is guarding the planet so that it is not attacked by anybody else. So, yes, externally speaking, Bali Maharaj, he sacrificed his kingdom. He gave his kingdom. He even gave his life, right? But when the Lord receives something from you, he is going to return it to you several times over. He is not going to take something from you and not give you back. So when Bali Maharaj gave up his kingdom, gave up his life for Vamana, Vamana gave him an entire planet. And not only he gave him the entire planet, Vamadev himself is standing guard outside the planet so that it will not be attacked by anybody. So here Bali Maharaj rejected the instruction of his spiritual master, but he was rewarded by the Lord. So this is one example. So Shastra says that you can reject a guru if the guru is giving you the wrong instruction. If the guru is misguiding you, then you can reject the guru. So yes, you should not reject. The Shastra says you treat the guru as good as God. But if the guru is misguiding you, then you have every right to reject the guru. This is within the Shastric framework only I'm saying. Okay. Just as a side note, who tried to attack Sutala and was kicked by Vamana? Ravan, yes. Ravan wanted to attack Sutala. He wanted to conquer even the Patalok. So he attacked Sutala and he was kicked by the left toe, not even his entire foot, just the left toe of Vamanadev. And he sent him flying 10,000 yojanas away. How much is 1 yojana? 1 yojana is equal to 12 kilometers. So 10,000 yojanas or 120,000 kilometers far, Ravana was kicked away just by the left toe of Vamanadev. That's how powerful is Vamanadev. Okay. So here Arjuna's argument that his guru should not be killed is not justified even shastrically because those gurus were on the wrong side. They were on the side of adharma. So Shastra also says, yes, when the guru is on the side of adharma, then you can kill. 2.6.
न चैतद्विद्मः कतरन्नो गरीयो यद्वा जयेम यदि वा नो जयेयुः यानेव हत्वा न जिजीविषाम तेव स्थिताः प्रमुखे धार्तराष्ट्राः.
Translation. Munesh Prabhu, are you there?
He's
Sorry,
muted.
mic was muted.
Yeah, he didn't realize he's muted.
Okay.
Nor do we know which is better, conquering them or being conquered by them? If we killed the sons of Dhritarashtra, we should not care of live. Yet they are now standing before us on the battlefield.
So here Arjuna is giving his fifth and last reason why he does not want to fight, which is indecision. He is frozen by indecision. He doesn't know what is better, what to do. Well, what is better to do? Whether I should be killed by them or whether I should kill them, which is better? So this is indecision. He's frozen by indecision. This is Arjuna's fifth reason why he does not want to fight. So according to Arjuna, now he is in a lose-lose situation, right? What is this lose-lose situation? Arjuna has only two options. What are the two options he has? Either he will fight or he will not fight. Now, if he fights again, there are two options. If he fights, either he will win or he will lose. Now, if he wins, what will happen? He says that I cannot enjoy my victory because it will be tainted with the blood of my loved ones. And if he loses, and if he fights and he loses the war, then of course it means death. Now, if he fights, he wins and loses both sides, he is going to lose. And if he does not fight, then what is happening? He is going to live by begging, because if a Kshatriya does not have a kingdom, what is he going to rule? Kshatriya means they need some kingdom. No? If there is no kingdom, then he has to live by begging. He will become infamous. Everybody in the future will criticize him for running away from the war. It will be disgraceful to the family. And of course, he cannot be promoted to higher planets. We saw no Aswargyam. We saw that option previously. So he will not be promoted to higher planets. So according to Arjuna, he's in a lose-lose situation. Whether he fights or he does not fight, either way, he's only going to lose. There is no win option for him at all. So here Prabhupada writes in the purport, let's read this.
Perplexities of life happen without our desire. They are like a forest fire that somehow blazes without being set by anyone. Similarly, the world's situation is such that perplexities of life automatically appear without our wanting such confusion.
So here, just as how Arjuna is in a perplexing situation, all of us are going to go through such perplexities in our life. Although we don't like it, they just appear on their own. It's not that they are waiting for our invitation, right? They are going to appear in our life. And when we have such perplexing situations, that is where intelligence begins. Intelligence means to know what to do when we don't know what to do. I repeat, intelligence means to know what to do when we don't know what to do. So here Arjuna was perplexed. He doesn't know what to do. He says, no, I don't know what I should do. It's better to fight and it's better to be conquered by them, or it's better to conquer them. What is it that I should do? He's perplexed. I don't know what to do. But Arjuna knew what to do in that situation. What he did eventually was he surrendered to Krishna. He said, okay, Krishna, please instruct me. Please tell me what I should do. So when he didn't know what to do, he knew that he has to surrender to Krishna. So that's where Arjuna has used his intelligence. So intelligence means when we don't know what to do, we should know what to do. That we should take the shelter of Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. 2.7.
कार्पण्यदोषोपहतः स्वभावः पृच्छामि त्वां धर्मसम्मूढचेताः यच्छ्रेयस्यान्निश्चितं ब्रूहि तन्मे शिष्यस्तेऽहं शाधि मां त्वां प्रपन्नम्.
Translation. Monesh Prabhu, are you there?
Okay. Now I am confused about my duty and have lost all composure because of misery weakness. In this condition, I am asking you to tell me the certain what is the best for me. Now I am your disciple and is soul surrendered unto you. Please instruct me.
So this 2.7 is considered to be the turning point of the Bhagavad Gita. Why is this the turning point of the Bhagavad Gita? Is because before this verse, Arjuna has given so many reasons, so much logic. He also said, I have heard this from disciplic succession. This is what Shastra says. And he's given so many reasons why he should not fight. But not once he has asked Krishna, please tell me what I should do. Here in 2.7, here he is surrendering to Krishna. And here he's saying them, now you please tell me, Yat Shreya Shyan. Yeah. So now he's saying, you tell me, please, you tell me what is Shreyas, what is for my what is for my long-term good, what is for my benefit. Previously, he was saying, this is Shreyas, this is not Shreyas. But now he is telling Krishna, you please tell me what is Shreyas. Then he's saying, Shishyas Teham, I am your disciple. Tadi mam tvam prapanam. I am now surrendering unto you. Please instruct me. So here, this is the turning point of the Bhagavad Gita. Now that Arjuna has surrendered to Krishna, Krishna is going to give him this knowledge. Krishna was not interested in giving the knowledge so far to Arjuna because Arjuna was coming up with his own logic and he didn't ask Krishna for advice. Now that he has asked Krishna for advice, now that he's surrendering unto him, now he is going to speak the Gita. So this is a key memory verse. I recommend all of you, because we are all students of the Bhagavad Gita, it's very important that we memorize this verse. Karpanya doshopata swabhava. Let us memorize this verse and use, recite this verse every day as a part of our daily prayers. And if you cannot memorize it, you can read it every day. Just recite this every day. You take the book or write it in a sheet of paper, keep it in your place of worship and recite it every day. And this is going to be our prayer to Krishna, that please instruct me. I am your disciple. I am surrendered unto you. Please instruct me. So by this powerful prayer, we will be able to understand the Gita in the correct way. So please recite this every day. Let's read this.
Agonized at the prospect of fighting against his own relatives, Arjuna cast aside his bow. When Krishna exhorted him to fight, he protested strongly, arguing that he couldn't shoot arrows at elders who were worthy of his veneration. Despite this protest, he soon surrendered to Krishna, praying for guidance. Arjuna's disposition has changed from protest to prayer due to his humility. Humility means acknowledging that God, in his infinite wisdom, always has a plan, and we, with our finite intelligence, don't always have access to that plan. Similarly, when faced with obstacles, perplexities, or adversities, we need to change our driving question from, why is this happening to me? Or why are you letting this happen? To how can I move ahead now? To make this change, we need humility. We must humbly pray, Krishna, I don't know what to do, but you know, you are my greatest well-wisher, please guide me.
Yeah, so when we have such perplexities in our life, when we go through some problems, usually what people say, we say, oh God, ye mere saath hi kyun hua? Why is this happening to me? Why did you do this to me? Oh, I am such a great devotee. I have donated so much money to the temple. I have done so much tapasya. So why are you giving me this suffering? So instead of protesting and questioning God, we have to say that, okay, God, I don't know why you have given me this, but you know, right? So you please guide me because you are my ever well-wisher. This is the way we have to pray to the Lord instead of questioning God. Ki why mere saath kyun hua? So previously Arjuna was protesting, right? He said, I will not fight. He was coming up with his logic, his reasons, but now finally his protest has changed into a prayer for guidance. And this Arjuna was able to achieve only because he was humble. Humility is one quality which will take us great places, not only spiritually, even materially. Even materially, we can go a great way if we are humble in our dealings. Prabhupada has given the definition of humility here. Let's see.
Humility means you are convinced beyond any doubt that there is nothing in this world, absolutely nothing in this world, not your money, not your family, not your fame, not your gun, not your education, nothing that will save you except the mercy of Krishna. When you are convinced like this, then you are humble. Srila Prabhupada.
Sometimes we think that our money, our family will come to our rescue, our fame, our education, but nothing is going to come to our rescue. The only one who can actually save us is the Lord himself. So this is the definition of humility. So we will stop here. We will do 2.8 in the next class. Can you think of other examples where somebody had family, money, education, everything going for him materially, but eventually nothing could help this person except Krishna's mercy? Can you think of any example like this? No examples you can think of?
That is Prahlad Maharaj, I think so. No, again.
Yes, Prahlad Maharaj, he is the son of the king, and yeah, Prahlad Maharaj, yes. Finally, it was only Krishna in the form of Narsimha Dev who saved him. But other than Prahlad Maharaj, there is one more very powerful example.
Dhruv Maharaj, no?
Dhruv also, but he didn't have, like, yes, his mother was there, but his father was not with him. But somebody who had family also with him, who had fame, who had power, but was in a completely hopeless situation. What about Draupadi? Now, Draupadi is the queen. Yes, she has 5 most powerful, potent husbands. She was even her parents were from a royal family. So she has youth by her side. She has family by her side. She has wealth. She has beauty. She has prosperity. She has everything. Materially, she has everything going for her. But when she was disrobed in that in the assembly, she was in a completely hopeless situation. The only way that she could come out of that hopeless situation was when she surrendered to Krishna, isn't it? She said, okay, Dushasan was pulling her sari, and when the last layer of cloth was about to come off, it was the last layer of cloth. That's when she surrendered. She put her arms up and she surrendered to Krishna. He said, okay, Krishna, please save me. And that's when Krishna's sari avatar, right? He sent so many meters and meters and meters and meters of sari to protect her modesty. So even Draupadi had everything going for her materially, but she was in a completely hopeless situation. Just like Arjuna. Arjuna also materially, he has everything going for him. But when he was perplexed, he didn't know, he was not able to solve the problem. The only way he could solve the problem was when he surrendered to the Lord. So materially, these material benefits are not going to help us unless we surrender to Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. Okay, so we'll stop here. We have 5-6 minutes for questions.
Excuse me. Excuse me. I saw one question. The strengths of Krishna. It was mentioned that Bakasura was killed by Krishna, but according to me, Bhima killed Bakasura. So why is that?
Bakasura was killed by Bhim only. He was not killed by Krishna.
But in your answers, it is given like that in Krishna's strengths. Bakasura's name is mentioned
Where? Where did you see this?
at the beginning of today's session.
In
You could
today's
see the
PPT. Was it Bakasura or Banasura?
No, it was written Bakasura. It was. I saw it. I made sure, and then only speak.
Okay, let me go back to the PPT 1 second.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
No, there was a demon called Bakasura also, which Krishna killed. He was a demon in Vrindavan. Maybe that was another Bakasura. There was a bird demon whose beak Krishna separated his beaks and he tore him apart. So that was another Bakasura, and this is another Bakasura.
Okay, thank you, madam. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else? Any other questions, comments? So today's class had a lot of.
Still we need more fertilizer of Bhagavad-Gita to generate questions, you know. Still, I think we need more fertilizer of Bhagavad-Gita.
Okay, yeah. The thing is, in the next session, Krishna is going to start the Gita Gyan. From next session, we will see. So far, the philosophy has not yet started, but in the next session, the philosophy starts. And as we advance more in the Gita, the philosophy gets deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. So then maybe. But today we saw a lot of important concepts. We saw the 3 ways to realize the supreme truth, the 3 categories of transcendentalists, the 5 kinds of liberation. So these things we have to remember because we are going to refer to them over and over again in our future classes. So please remember these concepts.
Mataji, please explain Arisudana and Madhusudana.
Madhusudana is a name given to Krishna because he killed a demon called Madhu. Okay. And Arisudana means killer of demons. Krishna killed many demons from his childhood, right? The first demon he killed was Putana. So he has killed several demons. Kamsa sent many demons one after the other to kill Krishna and Vrindavan. So because he killed demons, he is called as a killer of demons, Arisudana.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Anything else?
Is it possible to send all the recordings till date?
We have shared all the recordings till date in the group.
In the group or on the email? Because first one was sent in the email, right?
Yes, that was sent in the email because I didn't plan to, I don't wish to make these classes for public. That was my original plan. But now I have shared it in the group. So if you want, I can share the first class also in the group if you want. But everything else is there in the group.
Okay.
Anything else? So somebody requested for a Word document. Disha, did you see the message in the group?
Yes, I did. So this person asked for a Word document because they didn't understand my handwriting. I write this by hand, so I'm not sure how I can change that.
No, was it handwriting or was it the font? Because what I understood was the font. Do we have that person with us here? I think she said font. So the font can be increased by increasing the zoom, right? You can just zoom out and you can increase the size of the letters.
Yes, an answer numbering would do, right? If in the match the column, if answer to question number 1 is number 12, then I can just put number 12 in front of it, right?
Yeah, on the right hand side,
thing.
yeah, on the right hand side blank column, you write the correct answer of the corresponding one in the left column. Correct.
Yes, okay.
Okay, so we don't have that person here who requested the Word file. Anyway, I don't think that would be possible because when you convert PDF to Word, it's like they're like objects there. It's not a text, isn't it? So
right, and I haven't typed this up. I've handwritten it on my iPad, so I can't really change the font.
She wants to increase. She wants to increase the size of the font. She says it's difficult to see. So by just zooming out, you can increase the font and see. That's what I would say. Okay, so
maybe take a screenshot and zoom out is also second option.
Yes.
If it's not happening, they can take a screenshot and then they can maximize it to whatever possible.
Yes. So this thing has to be explained in the group. Disha, can you write this, please? Because I wanted to write, but since she addressed the question to you, I refrained from doing it. Can you explain this to her in the group?
Yes, sure. I'll do that.
Thank you. So coming from slot 1, I have received the answer sheets from Upasna, Jaita, Karanam Gayatri, Maheshwari, Ritu, Kalpana, and Varsha. So the rest of them, I request you to please send in your answer sheets. I will correct them and send it back to you.
What is this? I couldn't understand. What is this answer sheets and all?
I have sent a message in the group. There is an exam paper. I explained that at the end of every chapter, we will have exams. It's a match the following. It's there in the group.
Okay, I was not aware about it, because.
You missed the message in the group.
Yes, I messaged, but I was not. I thought that these communications are going on in some class. Every class you are just putting. I was not knowing that this examination system is going on. I was not
Okay.
aware of it.
So at the end of every chapter, we have an exam because it's important that
Okay.
the students also re-study, go through the notes and, answer questions. So it's an open book exam. You can refer to your notes, slides, classes. It's
Yes,
open
yes.
book, but I need the answer. It's a match the following. There are 40 options. So just send in your answer sheets. I will correct them and send it back to you. We will have 18 at the end of each chapter. I mean, one at the end of each chapter, we have one evaluation. So 18 in total. And if you submit all 18 answer sheets, you will get a certificate from ISKCON for doing this course.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much. It's so nice to hear this all and listen something and knowledge. Yes. Thank you very much.
No, thank you very much for participating. All right, then it's 1:32. I think those in India must be hungry and sleepy. So let's wind up and I hope to see you next Saturday. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna. Hare
Mataji.
Krishna.
Dhanwad
Hare
Pranam.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna to
Hare
everybody. Hare Krishna.
Krishna.